the glass in front of me, I say, is half full. And I'm an optimist, I think, when I come to looking at the international system and, of course, in the NPT.
I'm a realist, and let me just say at the very outset that I don't visualize the NPT becoming truly universal. In fact, I think before long, we'll be looking at a post-NPT non-proliferation regime. NPT is not an amendable treaty. The moment you try to amend the treaty to bring India, Israel, or Pakistan on board, it'll unravel. And therefore, we need to start thinking of a regime that can actually gradually replace the NPT in a way that does not cause any kind of strains and tensions in non-proliferation, and that is truly universal, and which seeks to create an international fuel bank or a fuel cycle regime which addresses some of the pressing concerns that we have today.
So as we notice, there are certain countries like India outside of NPT. So I think to make NPT the real foundation of the global non-proliferation, we should bring all the players into the NPT. So how from here, how can we bring India, Pakistan, Israel into the NPT system? I think that's a challenge we should face.
Both North Korea and Iran is pursuing nuclear weapons development in the name of peaceful use of nuclear energy. However, they said they will launch their own enrichment program in order to produce their own nuclear fuel. The logic is same in Pyongyang and Tehran. So, if all the other countries, in the name of free use, right for free use of nuclear energy, develop such a nuclear enrichment program, how can we prevent proliferation of nuclear weapons in the world?
On the issue of Iran and Burma and preventing proliferation in the garb of civil nuclear activity, yes, it's an issue. It's always been. In fact, we can even go one step back and say that the United States was the first proliferator. The question is where you draw the line, where you say after this point no other country is going to develop nuclear weapons capability, and that's a genuine issue. For example, take my country. What right does India have to be a nuclear weapon state and say Iran should not be a nuclear weapon state, which is India's position, right? I call it hypocritical. If you want Iran to give up its enrichment activity, you have to give something in return. What carrots are we offering Iran? You cannot demand compliance with the resolution without incentives.
How do we improve the NPT? And how do we bring the outliers in, especially Israel? Israel has to be somehow brought into the system. When Japan comes to a problem of looking at its constitution and what is really fixed in law, they decide to reinterpret it sometimes. I think that's a possibility for the NPT. And I see a real need for the NPT and the international community to recognize that this is not 1968. There have been some grave changes in the world, and maybe it's time to reset the clock.
The issue in relation to Israel, India, and Pakistan is that these countries stayed out of NPT. Legally, they had no obligations not to go nuclear, so they did not violate any international treaty or norm. The NPT structure, being what it is, and I've spent many years in my career just studying NPT regime, and I know that this is a regime that was supposedly cast in stone. Reference has been made by Dr. Ko and I think one other speaker on the New START treaty. It leaves the Americans and the Russians with overkill capacity. Each will have the capacity to destroy the planet many times over and over again. Now the question that we have to ask ourselves in the 21st century world, why do the Russians and the Americans need that kind of a capability? But more importantly, why are the Russian and American nuclear arsenals on head trigger alert? And I think that small little steps like that, de-alerting of nuclear weapons, no first use declarations, not even by treaty, can profoundly change the international dynamics and help to reduce the salience of nuclear weapons.
I think this critique is valid morally, but I'm not sure whether such criticism is causally correct. The question is, do countries decide to develop nuclear weapons because United States and Russia have an unfairly large number of nuclear weapons? North Korea began to develop nuclear weapons exactly after the United States withdrew its nuclear weapons from South Korea. And then North Korea conducted nuclear tests after it withdrew from this discriminatory nuclear NPT regime. What I am questioning now is causal logic.
Right now we are discussing all political issues, because proliferation since my student days has not changed. It's still very much politics which clouds people's thinking and judgment and even international discourse.
How much is the possibility that the CTBT and the New START will be ratified in the United States? The Obama administration has been trying not to politicize the nuclear issues because the depth of domestic support for the nuclear issues is very shallow, if there is, and the upcoming midterm elections can change the direction of the support, domestic support.
It's very dependent on Obama and his vision. Problem is he's very distracted right now.